Welcome to the Live Wide Open podcast. I'm your host, Randy B. Ramirez, also known as Wide Open Randy, and I'm here to lead you to become the best version of yourself. This show helps raise the bar for all the motorsport enthusiasts, those who want more out of life, those who want to do more, those who want to be more, those who love the thrill, the joy, and the connection of what these high performance engines bring into our lives. Because holding it wide open is just what we do. Being a great person is who we are, and living our lives to the fullest is the lifestyle that we choose. Yo, today we're going to be talking about keeping your focus and about keeping your attention on where you want to go so that you can avoid crashing. Like, I'm going to paint this little picture for you, right? Imagine, and help you visualize here for a second. Imagine that you're speeding down a winding road on your motorcycle, right? You're fucking hauling ass, going, taking turns, right? And you know one thing is for sure. Wherever you look, that's where you'll go. Lose your focus, and you might crash. And this goes for both riding motorcycles. And it's also true for your life, right? Because just like riding motorcycles, life requires focus on where you want to go. And so today, we're going to explore how this analogy applies to achieving your goals, how it applies to overcoming your distractions, and how you can steer your life in the right direction so that you can get to where you want to go and you can minimize your chances of crashing, right? So let me tell you why people don't get what they want in life. It's actually really simple, right? People don't get what they want in life because they don't focus on what it is that they want. They focus on things like that they don't want. They focus on like, oh, I don't want to be broke. Or they focus on, oh man, I don't want to be alone. Or they focus on like, oh my God, man, I just don't want to be sad anymore. Oh, but motorcyclists know this, right? They teach you this in motorcycle school. When you're riding, they teach you to look through the turn, right? To only look where you want to go because that's where you end up going. You end up going wherever you're looking. And so if there's a crash up ahead, you don't look at the crash. You look where you want to go. So the reason why most people don't get what they want is because they don't stop focusing on what it is that they don't want. So you see, it all fucking connects. Your focus determines your direction. If you focus on your goals, you're going to move forward and you're going to move towards your goals. But if you focus on your obstacles, you're going to fucking crash and you're going to hit those obstacles, right? Like, man, I remember when I was first teaching my wife to ride a motorcycle. So this was some time ago. So a long time ago. This is actually several years back, right? She was getting the hang of things. She was actually a very quick and good learner, right? She was doing pretty good, man. And so I decided, I was like, man, you've been doing what? And I started teaching her like in warehouse areas where there's no traffic, there's no, it was just us by ourselves, right? And she was doing it pretty good. She was picking it up. She was learning on my 636 on my Kawasaki. That was pretty fucking big bike. Like, I'm super proud of her for fucking making that happen. And so I was like, man, you're doing really good. I think you're ready for a little bit of street action, right? And so I decided it was time to take her onto the street. And I remember this like it was yesterday. Like, we were at a light, she was in front of me, and I was in my car behind her, right? Since she was just learning to ride, I would ride my motorcycle to the practice spot, and we would teach her there, and she would be in her car, and then so we had switched, all right. And so she was at the light, she was in front of me, and at this light we were getting ready to make a left-hand turn, and it was red, and then so all of a sudden the light turns green, and then she takes off. She's doing good. She takes off, slips a cliff, takes off, and now she's about to make this left-hand turn. And so now she starts turning. And as soon as she starts turning, I see it. Like, it fucking happens. Like, man, and by then, all I could do is watch, right? Like, if I were to scream or to do anything, it was going to make things worse, right? And so she starts turning, and she sees the curve coming up right in front of her. And what happens is that she loses her focus of where she's supposed to go. And now all she's doing is she's staring right at the curve. And she's like, oh my God, I don't want to hit this curb. And like, this is what she was telling me. Like, oh, she was going through it and like, I don't want to hit this curb. I don't want to hit this curb. I don't want to hit this curb. And by then, it was too late for me to do anything. If I beeped, I would scare her more. If I screamed, she would fucking do something. Like, and I was there grabbing, she was like, oh my God, Luke, somewhere else. She was locked in on the curb. And so guess what? She fucking hit the curb. Like, thankfully she was all right. Like, man, nothing happened. Like, it was a really slow fall. She didn't get hurt. No, thank God. And also my bike, the Ninja had a crash cage on it, and so that didn't get messed up, you know. But it was a valuable lesson that I know she'll never forget, right? When turning, always look through the turn. Like, look towards where you want to go. If you lose your focus, there's a great opportunity for you to crash. And so the dangers of distractions are real, my friend. Like, they have an impact on your direction. And as we just covered, if you lose your focus, there's a big possibility that you're gonna fucking crash. And so this is true for both on the road and in your life. In our modern world that we live in today, fucking distractions will lead us, can and will lead us to crash. Distractions are everywhere. Like, there's this constant pool of attention through social media. There's this constant pool of attention through negative influence. And even, this was a big one for a lot of guys and ladies, but I know this, I've even gone through this, there's a constant pool, of attention from our self-doubt, right? And just as a rider may crash if they get distracted by the scenery, in life, distractions can and will derail our progress. They'll paralyze our growth. And when your growth is halted, your success gets impacted. Right? And so it all starts with losing your sight of the prize. The moment you distract yourself and the moment you lose your focus is when you're going to fucking start to run into some issues. Right? Like, bro, when I first got into this entrepreneurial game, it happened to me. Like, most people won't admit this, but I want you to learn from my mistakes. I'm always going to be candid. I'm always going to be authentic. I'm always going to share what has worked and also what has not worked, so that fucking you guys and you listening, my friend, can fucking take my mistakes and learn from those lessons. And hopefully you don't, I could save you some time. You can go forward faster. You can make things happen faster and better than I am, right? And so when I made the switch, right, like, I went from being extremely busy, I had a high stress oriented environment, like working in high rise construction, to now all of a sudden I was working from home and I was by myself every single day, right? And so working on my own for a little bit, like, I let my foot off the gas. I started coasting, right? And as much as I hate to admit it, I let myself get into this fucking mindset of like, oh, I deserve this. I call it the I deserve mindset. Like, and it's the fucking worst mindset for you to be in, right? Like, I thought to myself, oh man, I've been working my ass off. I deserve to sleep in a little bit. Oh, I've been working my ass off. I deserve to take a break. Oh, I've been working my ass off. I deserve to take it easy. I deserve to take time off. But man, it was completely the opposite of what I really needed to do in that time of my life. Like, I had gone from working for someone else to going to work for myself. And me having that I deserve it mindset was fucking, it really killed my success. Like, man, I was working from home and the distractions were everywhere. They were all the time. They were at an all-time high. I was always on my phone. I was riding my motorcycle when I shouldn't be working. I was going out. I was doing things. I remember people would call me because they know I was working from home and be like, yo, let's go out for lunch midday. And it was happening pretty frequently, right? And I'd go out for lunch. And then, oh, let's go here. And we would go riding, or we're going to do this. And that fucking midday lunch, which was supposed to only been an hour, turned into the whole fucking afternoon. And by the time I realized, and like, I really like pulled myself out of the situation and I looked at myself, what was happening, I was spiraling out of control. I really was. Right? Like, those times set me back. For sure. I'm here to admit it. I don't give a fuck. But those times were a major lesson for me. They really did. They taught me a lot about my personality. Like, about how I'm the type of person that needs to be having a lot going on in my life. I really am. Like, man, I need deadlines. I need challenges. I need to be around other people specifically, man, because this whole being at home by yourself, working by, like, that shit is not good for you. It's not good for me, at least. Like, and being alone all day at my house was not good for my mental health. It was actually degrading my mental health, right? And so, knowing what I know now, and failing to achieve those goals in that time period that I was in, man, I accept that losing my focus on what I was really after is what started, like, the downward spiral of emotions that I was on, of that negative mental health season. I had to take a breath there because that shit was fucking tough, man. And now that I have regraded my focus, now that I'm like got laser vision on what I'm fucking doing, things have really turned around for the better, right? And so this is where training your mind and staying focused comes into play. Just like us riders, how we train ourselves to always look ahead, to always look through the turn, to always look where we're going, even in stressful situations in life. We need to train our minds to stay focused on our goals. Like, training your mind helps you become mentally tough. It really does. And a big technique that has worked for me over the years, man, I talk about it all the time, is meditation. And people are like, oh, how is meditation going to help you become mentally tough? It's because you're fucking flexing your mind. Like, man, I've logged over 18,000 minutes of guided meditation so far, and I don't plan to stop. This shit has helped me calm my mind. It has helped me, like, really gain control of my thoughts, of the racing emotions, of the anxious, of the anxiety coming up. And I'm not perfect, that shit still comes up, but I'm way better than I was, right? And it has helped me really flex my mental state towards what I need to do. Because most of the time, you're not going to want to do what you need to do. But it's being mentally tough. It's building the discipline. Because if you rely on motivation, you ain't going to get very far, because the motivation is not always going to be there. But if you're disciplined and you still show up, you will fucking get ahead. Like, goal setting is another huge one for me. It really is. And although I felt, I feel like many people talk about this. So many people, oh, you got to set goals, you got to do this, but what I feel like most of us lack, it's the implementation part that we fail to put into practice, right? And so you need to regularly evaluate where you're heading, your course of direction, see where you're going, at least minimally, man, once a month, right? And like some people, oh, I do it every quarter, or maybe I do it once a year, or do it half a year. Think about it. If you do it once a year, that's only one course correction. In a year, if you do it every half a year, that's 2 course corrections, right? If you do it every quarter, that's 4 course corrections, right? But if you do it every week, that's 52 course corrections that you're going to be able to do for yourself in a year. And you're going to be able to really guide yourself where you're going, versus 12. If you do it once a month, like, that's 12 corrections a year versus 52. Bro, that's fucking significantly more, right? And so ask yourself, are the actions that I'm taking every single day, or do they align with my goals? Do they align with the vision that I have set for myself? Do they align with the things that I say that I want to achieve, right? Like your habits, your routines, the people that you hang around with, even the content that you feed your mind, it's all going to either help you or it's going to hold you back. So make sure that they align with the person that you want to be. It's fucking, like, and I know sometimes that sounds like so basic and so many people talk about it, but it really is. Are you fucking doing it? Think about it. Your habits, your routines, your people you hang around with, what you feed into your mind. Like, are you constantly evaluating that so you can course correct? Or are you just fucking riding on cruise control and coasting your way through? If you're able to ask yourself the hard questions, you're able to direct yourself where you want to go. Another good one for me, and I want to recommend, is a time management strategy. I want you to put one into play, right? And like, something that works for me, great. And someone taught me this. One of my mentors has helped me in my career. Like, he lives by his calendar, and so everything that you want to do, put that shit on your calendar, right? You'll be surprised of how much you can really do, but also how much fucking time we all really waste. If you start tracking your calendar, if you start tracking your time in 15-minute increments, right? If you start doing that, you're going to be like, holy fucking shit, how many hours am I wasting a day? Because 15 minutes out up here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, and you're like, yo, 4 15-minute increments, that's an hour. And if you sit on the toilet for fucking more than 15 minutes, that you're eating it up. Or you're scrolling, that shit goes by fast, you're eating it up. And then you're asking yourself, bro, where's the time going? But if you're not analyzing how you're spending your time, you're not going to be able to see it, right? Because you can't improve what you don't measure. And so if you want to maximize your productivity, start by tracking your time. Another good approach that I recommend is the Pomodoro technique, right? And so this technique helps you remain laser focused on the task at hand. You eliminate all the distractions, right? And you only pick one thing that you're going to work on for the next, let's say 20 or 30 minutes. As you go using it, you go increasing that time frame. And then what you do is you put on some focus music, like preferably some music without words so that you can eliminate the distractions, right? And then for me, like sometimes I put actually a lot of times I put some house music, sometimes I put jazz, sometimes I put like nature sounds, and other times, and probably the one I use the most are binaural beats, right? And these are beats that help you stay focused. If you go on Spotify and you search focused, tailored, like if you just put focus on the search and go to playlists, and you're gonna see a lot of fucking playlists that are tailored to this, right? And I highly recommend that you use this, right? And so what you do is, for that set period of time, you focus on only the task at hand. You put your phone away. No phone. For me, I even take off my iWatch. No distractions, no nothing. I turn off all my notifications. And you're going to be surprised of how much you can actually accomplish when you have several time blocks like that, right? And as you get better, you increase the duration. Like 20 minutes, start with 20 minutes, and then go to 30 minutes, and then go to 40 minutes, and then go to 60 minutes. Like right now, I'm kind of averaging like, somewhere between 50 and 60-ish minutes, about an hour or so. I know because like, when I plan some sessions, at the hour mark, I'm already like kind of losing focus, and I'm like, all right, it's time for a break. But within that hour, I could really get a lot of shit done by using the Pomodoro technique, right? It's just like lifting weights. Like the more you do it, the more weight you're going to push. So the more you practice this Pomodoro technique, the longer you're going to go without any distractions. The longer you go without any distractions, the more focused work that you're going to do, and the more things that you're going to be able to accomplish within that fucking time zone. Another thing that I want to cover is to visualize your success, right? And I feel like I cover this a lot on the podcast, but I want you to know that I say it because it's been something that I do and has really worked for me in my life. It really does. Multiple areas. I visualize almost everything that I do. That's why I like to talk about it, right? And as you focus on where you want to go, you want to prepare yourself mentally for that journey, right? It's all about helping your mind become familiar with where you want to go so that your subconscious can start to connect the things that really align with those goals, right? And so by visualizing your goals and the path to achieve them, you align your actions with your desired outcomes. And by staying focused on the vision, this really helps you and will eventually lead you to the success that you want. And so apply this practice to your daily life. I highly recommend it, right? Like I do it all the time. Like I was saying, I do it with my writing. Man, I remember when I was a gangster trick that it took me. Everyone's like, bro, how long you been practicing? I was like, bro, I actually didn't practice that long physically, but mentally, I practice a lot. Rev limiter scrapes. That's when you throw the bike back and it's scraping on the tail, and now it's going, and then you pull the clutch in while scraping, and then you bounce on the limiter while still scraping, and then you gotta get out of it, hit the brake, come back, and ride the wheel. Like, I remember I practiced that shit so much in my mind, going through all the steps with my fingers, with the throttle, with my weight, putting it back. And when I went to go get it, like, man, I got it like in one practice session. And I was like, oh, yo, what the fuck? And I was like, I didn't know how much I visualized that shit, how much I went through that in my mind. Literally making it familiar to myself before I got it done. I do it with my driving too. I do it like, I do it if I'm drifting, if I'm hauling ass or whatever it is. And I do this one all the time. If I'm going to go park somewhere, man, and if you can ask my wife about this one. 9 times out of 10, we're going to go park. I always find parking out up front. Because as I'm driving, I leave my house and I was like, today's going to be a great day. Today's we're going to go. And or where I'm pulling up, I'm going to find the parking right up front. You're going to see. And I just envision it, right? I do it with my career too. I do it with my relationships. I truly do this with almost every single thing in my life, right? Like I work hard to paint the picture in my mind of the results that I'm after. And then I go and execute off of that. Will it always work? No. It will not always work. I'm not here to front. I really am. But many times, it has brought things into my path just because I put them in my mind first. It really has. Just like every moment, like on our motorcycle, like every throttle input, every lean, every movement that you do on your motorcycle, just like how that gets you closer to your destination, to where you want to go, every decision and every action that you take in your daily life should move you closer to your goals. So remember, my friend, focus or crash. You want to minimize crashing as much as possible and keep the momentum going. Focus determines your direction. Distractions lead you to crashes. And staying focused on your goals will be the catalyst to creating the success that you want to achieve. Control your focus and stay looking forward in your life. Stay looking toward where you want to go. You got this shit. So let's get to fucking work. I'm driving the checkered flag deep into the ground, and I'm calling out all the motorsport enthusiasts who want to improve their situation. Let's break free from all the shit that's been holding us back and become the badass motherfuckers that we're all meant to be. Breaking the stereotype is exactly what we're here to do. This movement is called Live Your Life Wide Open, and helping others level up is the mission that God has tasked us with. Join me on this journey while we empower our people to do more and to be more. If you haven't subscribed yet, man, go ahead and smash that button so you never miss another episode. Bro, and if today's message, if you connected with that, I ask you, please share this on your story and make sure you tag me at Wide Open Randy, because those are the actions that help more gearheads to see and to hear about this podcast, and ultimately, those are the actions that help our community grow. I'll catch up with you on the next episode, but till then, live your life wide open, my friend. Peace.